Hi, I'm Ashley Mapes, and I'm here with my mother, Cindy Atwell. Thank you for joining us
Hi.
this morning. Um, Cindy is a mother of two children, myself and my sister. She also has two grandchildren, Drew, age 9, and Tate, age 5. Miss, are you familiar with the term feminism?
Yes, I am.
And what does it mean to you?
Um, it means basically women wanting equal rights as men have. So equality between both men and women.
That's correct, and actually, it also includes not just men and women, but it seeks kind of break down the gender binary. It also seeks kind of equal representation for racial, LGBT, class, disability, and other minorities. So really, it's kind of multidisciplinary. It does seek to kind of create anyone that is in a disadvantaged or minority group. It does try to um, bring to light a lot of their issues and make sure they have equal representation and a lot of policymaking and research.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
And are you familiar with the idea of multiple economies and, in particular, the term a love economy?
Not so much.
Okay. So, a multiple economy is the idea that individuals and households engage in paid and unpaid work for income, to reproduce, and to provide for their families. Love economy is part of that, and what it essentially is it's when un, when un, then it also includes a love economy, which is unpaid and consists of raising children, taking care of elderly or sick family members, and volunteering things. Anything you do to volunteer your time for family, field trips, for instance, for children, things like that.
Hmm.
Any unpaid work, but that still revolves around you working for someone to provide something.
Sure.
Now, I feel you kind of fall into this category, and you're kind of in a unique position because you and your husband have adopted and are currently raising both of your grandchildren.
That's true.
So, and when you adopted them at different ages. Not at the same time. You adopted Drew first when he was how old?
He was 3 years old when we adopted him,
3 years old. And when did you adopt Tate?
and Tate was 2 years old.
2 years old. Okay.
Mhm.
So at different times. Also, during that time period, they did spend a lot of time in your care, though, even before you had adopted them. They had spent a large amount of time with
Absolutely.
you raising them, taking
Yes.
care of them.
Yes.
That's great. So, what motivated you to adopt them?
I would have to say, first and foremost, to provide a better life for them. Without the help of me and my husband, I think they probably would have fallen into a bad situation. So, because we loved both of them and felt we had to step up and do the right thing, that's exactly what we did, and took care of them until we came to the point where we decided to go ahead and adopt, so they would have just a good life, and we knew that there wouldn't be anything to come, with the adoption and all, anyone to come back and try to make changes for them.
Wow, that's great. That's obviously a lot of work and a big decision, and
Sure.
I'm sure in the end it
It,
would
it
be
was a
very
big
beneficial
decision.
for them.
Yes,
Do you feel like raising the kids is like having a job?
it is a full-time job. Yes, it is more than a full-time job for me. So I would say it never ends.
So, what is your daily routine or daily schedule like?
Wow, let's see. Usually about 5:45, 6 a.m. I'm up, getting things started. Um, First kid, I get him up and we get him rolling. He has to be at school by 7:30, so pretty early. We normally have to leave our house about 6:55 in the morning and get him to school. And from time to time, me and my husband switch it out. So with the older one, the younger one has to be at school by 8:15. So he's up next, and we get him out of the house. and then normally come back, and then I do household duties. Anything from running errands to cleaning the house to washing clothes for everyone, whatever I have to do during that day. I do have about a 30-minute break for lunch. And then it all starts over again at about 2 in the afternoon. I'll start picking kids up, and that takes up about an hour and a half of my afternoon to pick up both of them with their schedules. And then come home, and then it's usually prepping for dinner, getting things started with that, homework, and then cleaning kitchen, bathing kids, reading books, whatever the evening consists of. And then after that's all said and done, then I've got to prep water bottles, get lunches made, get everything done for the next morning. And usually it's, I would say, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night before I even get to go to bed.
Wow. So you're literally working from probably when you get up at 6 in the morning or so. If you have to leave by 6:55, you're usually working from about 6 in the morning till 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
And I won't lie, I do have breaks, or sometimes I watch a TV show at night, a 30-minute, clip here or there. But I do record a lot of shows, and when I do get a minute, then I'll watch and have my own time.
Right. So the other thing is, this is also 7 days a week. Having kids, it's not something that you can just punch a clock at in the morning and in the evening, 5 days a week, and go home. It's literally an always-on job.
Yes.
You're always on standby, even when they're sleeping or not around.
That is so true.
So I know you said a little bit. When do you normally get time for yourself?
When they are both at school, sometimes allow myself time. If I have things caught up, like I said, I might watch a recorded movie, or, just maybe even go out and do a little shopping for myself. But it doesn't happen often, but from time to time. And I'd say weekly, I do this a couple of times a week.
Okay. So if you were going back 10, 11 years, before they were born, is this what you imagine your life would be like at 55?
55? No. No, I did not imagine this would be my life. So I imagined at this point in time I'd be doing other things than raising small children. Mm-hmm. But, it is what it is. And sometimes we have to step up and do things that aren't in our plans and just go with it.
Yeah. Do you ever wish things were different?
Yes.
Now, I know you love the kids, so that's not to discredit them at all. But, do you ever feel sometimes that maybe you didn't have to have that burden of starting over raising kids?
Well, sure. Absolutely. I wish I could be the grandparent to them and have them come spend the weekend and, just have a little more fun like that, like a grandparent should do, instead of having to do all the duties of the parent and, getting on to them or making sure they're, tucked in bed on time, instead of giving them that extra 20 minutes to eat a chocolate chip cookie or something like that.
Right. I can imagine it's hard. If you weren't raising the children, what do you think you would be doing?
I would probably be working outside of the home, as I was working up until just a few years ago. But I would definitely be working outside of the home and doing something that I enjoy.
Okay. Now, I know you kind of mentioned it earlier. So, parenting your grandchildren, there's definitely some complications there. It seems from what you've said, kind of a clash of how you want to kind of execute those roles. Definitely, how I know you kind of discussed it with dessert and stuff. How does that really feel whenever you have to go back and forth between the two?
It's hard because you want to give them everything because they're your grandchildren, but you can't because you have to have these rules. Mm-hmm. So it just makes it really hard because you're having to split what you want to be doing and what you have to be doing.
I can imagine. This one's tough one, but do you feel that you have the help and support at home that you need, or the help and support that you get, do you feel it's sufficient or enough to make you feel like you don't have all the workload?
You mean from my spouse?
Yes.
Um, he grew up in an era that was a little different, and the same one I did, though. But back to feminism, he feels, I think, sometimes that the woman should be doing a little more because he's out working and he has the job and he's bringing home the money now. That maybe his duties are a little less, although he does help out. I do wish he would take on a little bit more sometimes, but he does help out. But all of it is a lot on me. I think I take the brunt of everything, of having to handle the children to make sure they're, everything's in order for them to function well at school, or just daily activities, cleaning their room or making sure they're doing what they need to be doing. So yeah, a little help would be more appreciated, but we work through it every day.
Perfect. Now, you did mention being kind of a different generation and a little more traditional mindset. So you feel like maybe you take on more of the raising the children, cooking, cleaning duties. Partially, yes, because your husband does work.
Right.
But you do also feel that there is sort of a masculine, feminine binary that's exhibited in those gender roles, in the way he was raised, and the way he thinks is kind of the woman is more the stay-at-home, clean house, cook, take care of things, while he goes out and is the kind of breadwinner of the family.
Yes, that is that is exactly how I feel. So and he supports us, and he does well with that. But I think he feels that the woman should be home doing more of those duties. Yes.
Right. And lastly, one final question I have for you is, most research and data that is collected, such as census data, tax data, would consider you unemployed, no income, you don't have a job, on paper. Obviously, from what you've said, you're working essentially 7 days a week, more than 12 hours a day, or taking care of the children, maintaining the house, and making sure things run smoothly. Do you think that the methods and policies used to collect this data should change to better reflect your contributions and the contributions of other women who are in similar circumstances?
Somewhat. I don't believe in free money. I don't believe you should be given money just because, you should be given money from the government, let's just say, because it's important. I do believe, it's only important if you really, really need it. I think everyone should go out and try to make a living and earn that dollar. But I do think, in a sense, that some women who, live in decent family dynamic should, possibly be given more credit for that. For instance, buying a new car. If she went out to buy a new car, she has no income. She couldn't buy a car. Her husband would have to be there to get it for her. Whereas, in a sense, his income is considered her income, even though she's not working. But that's not recognized.
Right.
So, in that sense, she may never be able to establish certain things for herself, being a stay-at-home, hard-working parent. So, I think there could be some definite changes towards that.
At least towards recognizing the contribution of these women in these situations, even if it's not financially, maybe restructuring policies and the way we conduct the research to make sure they're included more and that their voices are heard and not excluded, or tied strictly to their husbands, in the sense that the women have to follow along with whatever the man does.
That's exactly right. Yes, that's exactly how I feel.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for your time today. I appreciate your input and for sharing. I know some of this stuff was probably a little personal and it can be emotional. So I do
Sure.
appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you for interviewing me, and have a great day.
Thank you.